The way how he's talking about him, calling him selfish. This man has done so much stuff for human beings and giving back and trying to help so many different people, all different cultures, not just black people. This is what happens when you have people like this guy who's animated, not realistic about what it is that he speaks and talks about. He played a little bit of basketball, but come on, you serious? You letting this guy talk to you about sports? This guy never got hit in a football game. He never swung a bat. And this is the person who they have speaking and talking about what's going on in sports. Man, y'all need to defund his voice.
So now Stephon Marbury is on me about Kyrie Irving too. And look, I respect Stephon Marbury, I do. Because here's something I know about Stephon Marbury. That brother could ball. He should have made that look with his eyeballs because he's mentioning me in the same breath as himself, and I don't belong in the same class as either of these two dudes. Couldn't shine their shoes as a basketball player. I'm not on their level. But now you on my level because you're communicating. And when it comes to that, that's my lane. Now let me remind y'all, that man Stephon Marbury would play anywhere, anytime. 13 seasons in the NBA. Or was it 15? And when his time ended in the league, he went to China and he had a long career there too. Played in China until he was 40 years old. That is the Stephon Marbury story, period. But it's not Kyrie Irving's story. Because Kyrie Irving will find any reason not to be on the court, it seems sometimes. Always has. And let me say this to y'all right now. Let me be very clear. Kyrie's a good brother. Heart's in the right place, all right? Understand who Kyrie Irving is off the court, buying George Floyd's family a house, for example. It's commendable at the highest level, and that's just one of the very, very few things that he has done. So this ain't about being vaccinated. It's not about being anti-vaccinated. It's about Kyrie Irving because he has a history of selfishness. When he was in Cleveland and wanted out, when he went to Boston and apologized to the world because he didn't realize what it took to be a leader when he was in Boston. And those young cats were relying on him, and then ultimately they veered in a different direction because they didn't like the direction he was going in. Then he goes to Brooklyn and he only plays 20 games, and then he gets hurt when KD is ready to ball. And by the way, the season gets postponed because of bubble play. You're discouraging people to play in the bubble. You're a vice president with the Players Association. You communicate that publicly, but you don't tell Chris Paul, who's the president of the Players Association at the time. Then you come back after 10 months off, getting over $30 million a year. In 2 weeks and just 7 games into the season, you need time off again. Your heart just wasn't in it. You needed a break. But there's people out here struggling, paying their hard-earned money to come see you play because you're the showstopper. To me, it's obvious what I'm saying. It's selfish. It doesn't make him a horrible human being. It doesn't take away all the charitable things that he has done, but it is selfish. Stephon Marbury can't understand that? And you would come at me like that? Now, you know I could bring up video on the Vaseline when you was eating that stuff, right? I won't do that. You know I could bring up other things that happened to you during your career with the New York Knicks. I won't do that. I'll simply say, Stephon Marbury, if I'm not qualified to talk basketball, why did your documentary, the documentary that was done on you, the kid from Coney Island, aired by Netflix, have me plastered all over the damn docuseries? I didn't volunteer. Y'all asked me to do that. You asked me to talk basketball and talk about you on your docuseries. So we know better. You know better. You're just upset because Kyrie's your boy and you got love for him, and you're looking at me as tearing somebody down. No, I'm not tearing somebody down. You know why? Because we got a community to uplift and to look out for. And by condoning bad behavior, selfish behavior, you don't want to give the impression that that's okay, that everybody can do that. Wrong is wrong. That's how you correct it to make the world a better place. I thought you was about that, Stephon Marbury. thought that's what you prided yourself in. You know, learning, growing, maturing, recognizing right from wrong, learning from mistakes and moving forward. Oh, it's all right to learn from the mistakes, just as long as you don't hear about the mistakes. But if you don't hear about the mistakes that are being made, how would you know to correct them? Be careful what you say, my brother, and who you say it about. This is a different game.
It's sad to hear Stephen A. Smith talk about Kyrie Irving the way how he's talking about him, calling him selfish. This man has done so much stuff for human beings and giving back and trying to help so many different people, all different cultures, not just black people. This is what happens when you have people like this guy who's animated, not realistic about what it is that he speaks and talks about. He played a little bit of basketball, but come on, serious? You letting this guy talk to you about sports? This guy never got hit in a football game. He never swung a bat, and this is the person who they have speaking and talking about what's going on in sports. Man, y'all need to defund his voice.
All right, Stephen A., I will give you the floor to respond to that.
Thank you. Give me the camera, please. First of all, I'm not going to go off about Stephon Marbury. We are here. We give our opinions every day. Stephon Marbury is a brother out of Brooklyn, New York, who could ball. I covered him in Lincoln High School. I knew him. I knew his brothers to a lesser degree, his wonderful parents as well. I'm not going to insult Stephon Marbury. I will say Stephon Marbury has had a problem with me since 2009 because we thought he was a bit bizarre when he was eating Vaseline, literally on video, like it was a bunch of cheeseburgers or something, like gobbling Vaseline, crying. He later admitted he was depressed and what have you, and then obviously because of that, the level of awareness with, issues of mental health came in the fold, and so that's nothing to joke about or to be disrespectful about. As it pertains to him and his support of Kyrie Irving, I can understand it. Stephon Marbury was on 5 different NBA teams. Stephon Marbury was somebody that was considered an incredible, tremendous talent who had leadership issues when he was in the NBA. And so it seems more than apropos that he would come to the support of a Kyrie Irving. Here's my point about Kyrie Irving that I would ask Stephon Marbury and them to remember. And by the way, you don't have to bring up the fact that I balled because I couldn't shine Stephon Marbury's shoes as a basketball player. When they were talking about Felipe Lopez and all of that stuff, Stephon Marbury was the big-time player out of New York City. He was sensational. And Kyrie Irving is sensational. I don't even belong in the mention in the same breath as them. I'm a journalist, a reporter, a commentator. That's where my stuff lies, not as a ball player. I don't even deserve to be mentioned in the same breath as y'all. But I'm a grown-ass man, and I'm a black man. And I've watched people like yourself in these positions where you can be leaders, and you elect to take a pass. And that is what I am accusing Kyrie Irving of doing. And let's go down the list. You're in Cleveland. You're playing with the great LeBron James. You can't get along with him. You decide to ask out of it. You transfer to Boston because you threatened Cleveland that you would not be willing to play if they didn't move you. You go to Boston, and what do? They go to the finals they go to the Eastern Conference Finals without you because you get hurt. You come back the next year and things are a bit discombobulated. You apologize to LeBron James, saying that you didn't realize what he was talking about at the time because there was a leadership issue. Okay, you ultimately end up departing out of Boston. After promising Boston fans I would stay there, okay, if you'll have me, and then you get up and leave. You end up going to Brooklyn. You're there the first year because KD ain't with you because he tears his Achilles. You only play 20 games. Then the next year you come and you get hurt right before the season is halted because of a pandemic. During the summertime before play was to be resumed, you're encouraging players to put themselves in a position where billions of dollars would cost them billions of dollars if they were to sit up there and not play in the bubble, because the players, the NBA owners would have ripped up the CBA agreement because they were losing so much money. It would have rendered all contracts null and void, and then you would have had to start all over. You go public with that proclamation without talking to CP3 and the leadership for the NBA Players Association. You go out on your own. Then after that, you're gone for 10 months. I'm talking about Kyrie Irving, obviously. You're gone for 10 months. And in that 10-month span, once you come back, you play 7 games over a 2-week period and then say, I need a break for personal reasons. And then now here we are with the vaccine. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm vaccinated, but I was nervous about it too. Okay? I understand Kyrie's reservations. But when you go to an ICU unit and you see a bunch of black people in there, you understand that has been infected by the virus. When you think about pre-existing conditions that have plagued our community and what have you, and you see black people dying, you take the position that I think I took. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. But my point is, you left Brooklyn hanging. So KD is there because of you, and James Harden is there to a degree because of you. But you're not there with them. And I'm saying, once again, this points to leadership. And last time I checked, that makes me disqualified because I've taken that position. It makes me disqualified to talk about this. Stephon Marbury, I was a sports writer when you were in high school. You didn't say anything about me then. If Stephon Marbury has such a problem with my voice, why did you use my voice prominently on your own documentary, The Kid Out of Coney Island, that was aired on Netflix? Go look at Stephon Marbury's documentary and who's all over it. Why did you have these people come interviewing me about you and about how great you were if suddenly my voice was a problem? You see the inconsistency? You messing with the wrong brother, my brother. I'm going to say what it is, and I mean what I say. I ain't selling out. I'm looking out. The fact of the matter is, Kyrie Irving has put himself in a position where we get to question his leadership based on the multitude of decisions that he has made.
Yeah.
It doesn't make him a bad person, because he's not. It doesn't get us to ignore his philanthropy, because we shouldn't. He's a beautiful person whose heart's in the right place, who's done a lot of great things for a lot of great people. But on this particular issue, I believe he's wrong. If you disagree with me, I respect that. Whether you in China or New York or anywhere in between, you have a right to voice your opinion. Right. But don't act like just because I didn't play the game on your level that I don't get to say this about Kyrie.